Dear students, welcome back to the online sessions on AEC subject. So as we discussed in the previous session that we're going to discuss class A and class B type of the power amplifiers. So before we just go to the class A and class B power amplifiers, what I want to give you some introduction regarding the basic differences between the voltage amplifier and a power amplifiers. Okay, so because we have until today we are accustomed to use the voltage amplifier most of the time. Now in today's session, that is in a fourth unit, we'll be discussing with the power amplifiers. So that means what is the basic differences between the voltage amplifier and the power amplifier. Then later on we move on to the class A, class B type of the power amplifiers. Okay, let us go with the power amplifier basic block diagram. So what is the basic block diagram of power amplifier? Let us look into this. So in the exam for 2 marks, if at all a question is asked to write or define a power amplifier, then you should draw this particular block diagram, right? So this block diagram contains, usually power amplifiers are normally used in the speaker systems, that is called loudspeaker systems, right? You are seeing this loudspeaker system here. So the input is going to be human voice. The human voice is given to the microphone. So microphone is normally going to vibrate based on the vibrations in the atmosphere. And these vibrations are going to get converted to electrical signals by the microphone. And these electrical signals has to be amplified, especially voltage levels. So the voltage levels of the input signal is simply going to get amplified further and further. You're going to have chain of the voltage amplifiers. And after that, depending on the requirement of the loudspeaker, we may use 2 voltage amplifiers, 3 voltage amplifiers, or 4 voltage amplifiers. It all depends on the application that we're dealing with. But what I can say is that chain of voltage amplifiers will be used after the microphone. Then later on, you're going to use the power amplifiers to increase the power level of the signal. So because the loudspeaker is normally going to have, once again, it's going to convert electrical signal into the acoustic signal. So this loudspeaker is going to have very low resistance, because loudspeaker is doing the inverse operation of the microphone. Therefore, the loudspeaker is normally going to be having a very low frequency, very low resistance, maximum of say 20 to 25 ohms at the output of the or input of the loudspeaker or output of the power amplifiers. So therefore, the output of power amplifier should be compulsorily low. Now, in order to achieve low output resistance of power amplifier, we have to always use the transformer coupling at the output of the power amplifier, because the transformer is usually going to have very low output resistance, so that we can just have an impedance matching between the output of the power amplifier and input of the loudspeaker. So all the time loudspeaker input resistance is going to be low, maximum of say 25 ohms. Therefore, in order to achieve low output resistance of the output amplifier, we have to use the transformer coupling at the output of the power amplifier circuit. So this is what the block diagram of the basic power amplifier. So power amplifier is normally used to increase the power level of the input signal. Now, one more meaning for the power amplifier is that the power amplifier is a device which is normally going to convert AC power, it is normally going to convert DC power into the AC power. Therefore, efficiency is also going to be an important issue for the power amplifier circuits. Now, the power amplifier is going to transfer maximum power into the loudspeaker based on the DC power applied to the power amplifier stage. Therefore, it comes under the DC to AC converter, and the action of which is controlled by the input voltage of the power amplifier circuit. So therefore, the DC power input is simply distributed into AC power output and also the losses in the circuit. So this is what the basic explanation for power equation of the output of the power amplifier circuit. So what is the useful power in this? See, the DC input power is simply divided into AC output power and the losses. So useful power is going to be only AC output power, which will be simply delivered to the input resistance of the loudspeaker or output resistance of the power amplifier circuit. Now, what are the differences between the voltage amplifier and power amplifier? Just now we discussed the power amplifier is normally used to amplify the input voltage, which is at a range of 1 volts to around 5 volts. That means the input voltage itself is going to be high. That means the power amplifier has to process the large signals. Therefore, it comes under the large signal amplifiers. Okay. Now, since the power amplifier is intended to transfer large amounts of input signal, after amplification, the voltage level is also still going to increase more than the input voltage, definitely. That means the power dissipation through the power amplifier is also going to increase because of large voltages and obviously large currents. Therefore, you have to use the heat sinks. So that is why in order to support heat sinks, you have to compulsorily increase the collector to base region of the transistor amplifier. Therefore, the overall size of the transistor in a power amplifier circuit has to be larger enough than the voltage amplifiers. Therefore, what are the basic important bullet points that we have to remember for a transistor to be called as a power transistor? Because the transistor used in the power amplifier depends on these following factors. What are the factors? It is large in size in order to handle the large power dissipations. So definitely we say that the power amplifiers are going to dissipate large amounts of power. In order to compensate for losses in the more power dissipation, we have to use the heat sinks, so that heat sinks are going to absorb the excessive heat in the transistor amplifier. If the heat is going to be more than the threshold value, then the Q point is normally going to get changed. If Q point changes, the output is going to be called as a distorted output for us. Therefore, the Q point has to be kept constant, whatever may be the circuit conditions. So in order to keep the temperature of the device under control, we have to use the heat sink, so that the heat which is being generated in the amplifier circuit has to get dissipated into the heat sinks, are going to get absorbed into the heat sinks, are going to get escaped from the amplifier into the heat sinks. So we have to see that the heat should get escaped out of the amplifier circuit in order to keep the Q point at the center of the active region. So that is what the reason why we have to use the large size. So the size of the transistor in the power amplifier is going to be larger to handle the large power dissipations. The next is the collector region of the transistor is made larger. Same point now. Same point is explained with respect to the terminal now. The first point and second point are same. Only thing is, second point is explained with respect to the terminal of the transistor. So the larger in size we normally going to bring by making the collector region of the transistor is made larger, and the heat sink is placed at the collector to base junction. So collector is taken as the phase terminal, base is taken as the ground terminal for the heat sink, and heat sink is normally going to get mounted. That means the amplifier circuit is simply mounted based on the collector and base terminals, and over the heat sink we normally going to mount the transistor circuit. Therefore, the size is obviously going to increase. So the collector region of transistor is made intentionally larger, and the heat sink is placed at the collector to base junction in order to minimize the heat produced in the amplifier circuit because of excessive signal transmission than its capacity. That means always in power amplifiers, the signal which is going to get processed will be more than its capacity. So whenever things are going more than its capacity, we should have a very good controlling mechanism so that the amplifier won't get burnt off. If the signal levels are going to become more than its withstanding level, then what happens? The transistor is simply going to get burnt off. So to resist the transistor not to get burnt off, we have to simply control the transistor. Therefore, controlling means what? Why the transistor will get burnt off? Because of excessive heat. So the heat has to be controlled. In order to control that, we are simply bringing the heat sinks. In order to connect heat sinks, we are intentionally increasing the collector region of the transistor. That means at the time of construction itself, care has to be taken in the collector region, right? Once the collector region is really made more larger, it is suitable for the power amplifier transistor construction. That is what the meaning we have to consider over there. Okay. And at the same time, two terminals has to be brought, one from the collector, another from the base, especially for the power handling of the transistor amplifier. So this is what we have. The next is the emitter and base junctions of the power transistor heavily doped. Emitter to base junction. That means emitter base junction are known as emitter junction is going to be heavily doped in the case of the power amplifiers. The reason being is that the output of power amplifier should draw more current in comparison with the voltage amplifiers. Since you have to support more current flow along with the moderate voltage gain, you should get current gain as well. Okay, because what is power? It is voltage into current is known as power. Voltage into current is known as power. So both voltage as well as current has to amplify or has to increase in order to support more power onto the load. That means you have to support more power onto the load. In order to enable that, what has to be done now compulsorily? The voltage and current both has to increase. If both increases, then definitely the power gain is also going to increase, because what is nothing but the power gain formula? It is equal to the voltage gain multiplied by the current gain. Because voltage gain cannot increase beyond its rated value. So what is the option left over now? After that, current gain has to be improved so that you can say that there is a abundant power gain in comparison with the voltage amplifiers. In the case of voltage amplifiers, only voltage amplification takes place, but current amplification won't take place in the case of the voltage amplifier. When you multiply the voltage and current, the resultant multiplication value, multiplied value will be simply LS value. In the case of power amplifiers, voltage as well as current, both should have a amplification. Both should experience an amplification. Then only we say that the output power is simply going to be more than the input power. Next one is due to low input resistance, it requires low input power. Yeah, this is the problem with the BJT amplifiers. So in BJT amplifiers, what is the problem? In BJT, all the BJT amplifiers are going to have low input resistance. In order to increase the input resistance, we have used the various feedback topologies. So by using the feedback topology connections, we have intentionally increased the input resistance. That means if it is series mixing, for series mixing, we are increasing the input resistance. That means by virtue of the series mixing, what is happening is something like the input resistance is simply increasing more than the input resistance of the transistor terminals as such. So thereby it can simply stop some noise signals to enter into the transistor amplifier. But in general, BJT means it is going to have low input resistance. That is what the basic drawback of the BJT. That is the reason why we are simply going into FET. So FET amplifiers are normally going to have very high input resistance. That is the greatest advantage of FET over the BJT. Okay. So therefore, because that BJT is going to have low input resistance, it should require low input power. That means the input power should be once again low. Input power should not be high because the resistance is low. It cannot withstand, low resistance cannot withstand with the larger input power. These are the various important points. So by incorporating all these points, we normally going to construct a power amplifier. That means in order to construct a power amplifier, you have to consider these as the design issues. So once you undergo with these design issues, then we can design the power amplifier circuit. Now next point is basic differences between the voltage amplifier and the power amplifier. Just now we discussed about the construction features or design features of the power amplifier circuit. Some of the design features we discussed of a power amplifier. Let us look into the voltage amplifier. Voltage amplifier means what? It gives a voltage gain, capital A suffix V. What is A stands for? It is a gain representation. V is anyway voltage representation. So AV is equal to beta times RC by RN we can write. Now what about the constructional features here for a voltage amplifier? Let us see. Voltage amplifier is intended to amplify the input voltage. It is not intended to amplify the input current. That is what the difference here. So the voltage amplifier is designed only to achieve the maximum voltage amplification. That is what the basic necessity for going to the voltage amplification. Now here the base of the transistor should be made thin because our intention is not to flow more amount of current into the collector from the emitter. Therefore, the base of the transistor should be made very thin and the value of beta should be greater than 100. In the case of voltage amplifier, the value of beta should be greater than 100. Input resistance Rn should be low when compared to the output collector resistance Rc. Okay. In the case of power amplifiers, load resistance should be very, very less because it will be connected to the loudspeaker. Then the collector load Rc should be relatively high. In the case of voltage amplification, the only objective is to get more output voltage. When do we get more output voltage? We get output voltage when resistance is high. When the output resistance is high, across more resistance, we get a more voltage drop. That is the case with the voltage amplification. If it is with the power amplification, because the output of power amplifier, we will be connecting it to the loudspeaker. The input resistance of the loudspeaker is always low. If the output resistance of power amplifier is going to be high, input resistance is going to be low. What happens? There is the impedance mismatch. Therefore, you cannot really transmit all the input power of the loudspeaker into the loudspeaker. Therefore, impedance matching has to be established. Now, you cannot increase. You should not increase. You cannot increase and you should not increase the input resistance of loudspeaker. What is that in your hands now? You can reduce the output resistance of the power amplifier by incorporating the transformer coupling at the output of the amplifier circuit. So if you keep what is that transformer at the output of the collector side of the transistor, then obviously the output resistance of the transistor is going to come down. Now you can adjust the output resistance of the transistor power amplifier using transformer coupling. Okay, so that it can be matched with the input resistance of the loudspeaker, so that we can have a maximum power transfer into the load. Load is known as a loudspeaker. So that means what here, whereas in the case of voltage amplifier, our intention is only one, voltage gain. When we are seeing voltage gain, we don't see current gain. But when you see power gain, we have to see voltage gain as well as power gain. Two has to be achieved compulsorily in the case of the power amplifier. Whereas in the case of voltage amplifier, only one issue, voltage issue. Power issue, I don't care. So to permit high collector load, the voltage amplifiers are always operated at a low collector current. So that means in the case of voltage amplifiers, if you increase the output resistance to achieve more output voltage, obviously the current flowing through that load resistance is going to increase, with the simple logic that more the resistance value, less is going to be the current flow through that particular resistor. So one more thing we have seen in the case of PN junction diode, the forward bias current is going to be more than the reverse biased PN junction diode current. Why it is so? Because the reverse resistance is going to be very high in comparison to the forward biased or forward resistance of the PN junction diode. With that, what we can say? We can say that when the resistance is more or high, the current flowing through that resistor is going to be less. When the resistance is low, the current flowing through that is simply going to be high. So it's simply going to be high. That means more resistance, less current flow, less resistance, more current flow. This is what the logic we know, phenomenon we know. Okay, according to Ohm's law or whatever it is, we just know that particular thing. So therefore, our intention is that therefore RC should be high, Rn is going to be low definitely in comparison to RC. Beta value should be compulsory greater than or equal to 100. So that means high beta value we are going to consider. So voltage amplifiers, there is a constraint now, are normally used for small signal amplifiers. What do you mean by small signal? It operates between 1 millivolts to approximately say 5 millivolts. Millivolts is a very small signal. So the voltage amplifiers are going to operate with very small input voltages. Therefore, voltage amplifiers can be called as a small signal amplifiers. So voltage amplifiers can also be called as small signal low frequency amplifiers. When I say low frequency, I mean it is going to be maximum up to 20 kilohertz. Any frequency range which is going to be up to 20 kilohertz from 0, all that range is simply called as a low frequency range. So in that range only we normally going to get an audio frequency range. So human voice frequency band is going to be 0.3 kilohertz to 3 kilohertz. And let us suppose you wanted to include music also to be transmitted along with the human voice, just like I want to transmit a song of a singer. Then the music frequency is going to be maximum of 15 to 16 kilohertz. So we are keeping some more kilohertz left vacant in order to provide some God bands to have a separation between one channel to another channel. So that's why we're simply going to leave some extra band of frequencies, and we designate up to 20 kilohertz is simply going to be comes under the audio frequency amplifier range. Okay, that is what the basic phenomenon we are normally going to use. So coming to the power amplifiers, the basic function of power amplifier is to raise the input power. The input power has to be raised at the output terminal. That is the basic requirement of a power amplifier, because to designate it as a power amplifier, the input power has to be amplified by the circuit. That means input power increasing means what? It is going to deliver a large amounts of power. Power means voltage into current. Remember that always. The voltage level has to be increased. Power level is also going to get increased. This is what the basic thing we're going to have. So increase means what? The gain, if it is more than 1, it is going to be increasing gain only. Gain which is less than 1, it is going to be decreasing gain. That's what you have to keep in mind. Okay. So with respect to that particular concept, we say that increasing voltage. Okay, increasing current. That's what we mean by saying increase. Not in terms of gain in terms of more than 100, more than 1000. No, not like that. Okay. So that what are the characteristics of power amplifiers now? What characteristics is going to have physically now? The base of the transistor is made thicker to handle the larger currents. So the input voltage is going to be in terms of volts, say 1 volts to 5 volts. So 1 volt input signal is going to transmit large amounts of currents. So whenever large amounts of currents are going to get transmitted through the base, so the base has to be made thicker. Otherwise, the base junction is going to get damaged. Base emitter junction is going to get damaged if the excessive current is going to flow beyond its capacity. That's why you should handle large amounts of currents flowing through the base. The base region has to be thicker or larger. Next point is the value of beta is going to be less than 100. So less than 100 is also considered as high because it should be greater than 1 and less than 100. That's what we mean by saying, beta value less than 100. It is not less than 1. Therefore, it is also going to be larger value. Anything which is more than 1, we simply consider as a high value of the beta. The size of transistor is made larger. How it made larger? Intentionally, you have kept a heat sink below the transistor circuit where the collector and base terminals are connected to the heat sink, so that the heat is simply going to get escaped from the transistor into the heat sinks. So therefore, the size of the transistor is increased or made larger intentionally in order to dissipate more heat, which is produced during the transistor operation. So while transistor is operating, it is going to amplify the input signal. Say, for example, input signal is 3 volts. The amplifier is going to amplify the 3-volt signal, 3-volt signal into say 30-volt signal. So 30-volt signal is definitely going to carry more current. That means more current means more temperature. More temperature means more heat dissipation. So this more heat dissipation has to be compulsorily reduced by a heat sinks. Therefore, we intentionally increase the size of the transistor, device. Transformer coupling is inevitable for the impedance matching at the output of the power amplifiers. Final output of the power amplifiers, you have to use the transformer coupling. So this is what important point here. That means whichever you may have more than one power amplifier in the chain of the power amplifier. See, you have seen this power amplifiers. You're going to have a chain of voltage amplifiers. You can have chain of power amplifiers as well, right? But the last stage of the power amplifier is coupled to the transformer, so that the output of transformer is connected to the input of the loudspeaker in order to achieve the impedance matching. Very important concept this is. So in order to achieve impedance matching, we normally going to have a transformer coupling. So transformer coupling is normally used to achieve or to provide impedance matching to the load. So load is a loudspeaker. Therefore, to provide impedance matching, usually the output resistance of the transistor is going to be high. Why the output resistance of a transistor is high? By virtue of its construction, the output junction is reverse biased. So reverse bias junction is going to have definitely more resistance. That means the output resistance of a transistor is going to be more definitely. But the input resistance of loudspeaker is very, very less. Therefore, we should achieve impedance matching between these two. Therefore, we use a transformer coupling. Then the collector resistance is made low. That's what, using the transformer coupling, we can make the collector resistance going to be very low. So these are the basic characteristics of the power amplifier circuit. And there are some constructional features of the power amplifier is going to be like this. Size is going to be more, base, collector base has to be connected to the heat sinks. And the doping level, the base emitter junction should be highly doped in the case of power amplifiers, and it requires low input power. So these are the basic design constraints of a power amplifier circuit, and some of the characteristics just now we have seen of a power amplifier. And sometimes you may be asked to write the differences between the voltage amplifier and the power amplifier circuits. Okay. So voltage amplifier means first factor is going to be the beta value. That is nothing but the gain of the amplifier. So beta factor will be greater than equal to 100. You can write it as equal to 100. Whereas power amplifier, the beta value would range between 5 to 20 only. See how much it is less. It is the voltage gain. I am not bothering about getting huge voltage gains. Apart from a moderate voltage gain, I am looking to have a appropriate current gain as well, so that the multiplicand value, the multiplied value of voltage and power gain is going to be high. What about collector resistance in voltage amplifiers? It is 4 to 10 kilo ohms. We already know that. And what about the output resistance of the power amplifier? It should be 5 to 20 ohms. because the input resistance of loudspeaker is very low. In order to achieve the impedance matching, you should always keep the output resistance of the power amplifier going to be low as possible, which is, you know, appropriate enough so that we can have a impedance matching to the loudspeaker. The next one is coupling. What kind of coupling is normally used or preferred in voltage amplifier? It is usually RC coupling is used, whereas in the case of power amplifiers, inevitably, transformer coupling is normally preferred in the case of the power amplifier circuits. In order to achieve maximum power transfer, we should have impedance matching. In order to provide impedance matching to the power amplifier, you have to have a transformer coupling at the output of the power amplifier. Next is input voltage, few millivolts. Few means what? From 0 to maybe 2 or 3 millivolts, or at the most 5 millivolts is called few millivolts. What about power amplifier input? 2 to 4 volts or 2 to 5 volts. See the difference here I'm going to have. This is milli. Milli means what? 10 to the power minus 3 is called milli. This is no milli, just 2 into 4 volts. So that means this voltage value is 1000 times greater than the voltage values at the input of the power amplifier. So this is the greatest difference here. Now in the case of voltage amplifier, collector current is going to be very low in terms of milliamperes, because collector resistance of voltage amplifier is high. Therefore, collector current is going to be low. Coming to the power amplifier, the collector resistance is going to be low. Therefore, the current through the power amplifier is going to be high. It is providing more current again in terms of more than milliamperes. Obviously, power output power is going to be low. Why output power is low? Even though you have a voltage gain, but current gain is almost all very, very small. Okay. So there is no current gain at all. Therefore, power gain is going to become less. Coming to here in power amplifier, there is a appropriate voltage gain and also the current gain. Therefore, power gain is going to increase. Same story now. RC and output impedance, both are almost same. So output impedance is going to be 12 kilo ohms. Here output impedance is going to be 200 ohms. So these are the differences between the voltage amplifiers and the power amplifier circuits. Now we'll see how a class A power amplifier will look like. So the class A power amplifier is exactly same as the CE amplifier circuit. Now this here in this diagram, what I've given is I've just drawn only the transistor to say that there is going to be only one difference in comparison with the CE voltage amplifier, or for that matter just a CE amplifier. The difference is that the transistor is replaced, the ordinary transistor is replaced with a power transistor here, where the effective area of the transistor used is going to be larger than the area of the transistor used in the ordinary transistor conditions. So because it is a power amplifier, the size of the power transistor is going to be larger than the ordinary transistor. That is only the difference which you're going to find in the construction of the class A type of the power amplifier. Otherwise, the entire circuit diagram is going to be same. What I mean by saying entire circuit diagram, at the input of the transistor, you're going to have the biasing resistors R1, R2, and you're going to have the coupling capacitors CB and CC. And after that, you're going to have the input resistance with the source input. At the input side, you're going to have the input voltage source along with the input source resistance. And at the output side, you're going to have the load resistance. So that is going to be the simple CE configuration circuit. So same diagram is going to be used here. That means same diagram is applicable here, is used here, except the transistor is replaced with a power transistor. That is only the difference which you're going to find in this type of the transistor circuit. And we should see that RC is going to be quite low in comparison with the RC used in the voltage amplifier circuits. That's it. Apart from that, the amplifier circuit is going to be same, except the transistor circuit, everything is going to be same. Next, we switch over to the AC load line analysis. We switch over to the AC load line analysis. In this analysis, we see how we are going to draw, how we are going to explain the operation of the class A type of the power amplifier. So we explain the class A power amplifier circuit with respect to the Q point of the transistor amplifier circuit. So we know the Q point should be at the center of the active region. Then the input signal is going to make excursions above the Q point. After the signal is going to get amplified, we are going to show the amplifier circuit output is going to make excursions with respect to the average Q point. Okay, that means here there is a possibility that Q point is going to get shifted here or shifted here if the temperature is simply going to change. So that is what the problem here we have, because the transistor amplifier at power amplifier stage is going to amplify the large input signals. Therefore, the heat is going to increase due to the change in temperature. The Q point may change to Q1 or may change to Q2, which is undesirable. Therefore, you have to use the heat sinks to reduce the temperature which is going to get accumulated in the transistor circuit. Okay, that is what the basic thing which we normally going to use it over here. Okay. So what we can say in the case of power amplifiers, to what extent the voltage swing can simply increase to a level. The voltage swing, this minimum value can reach to 0 and this maximum value can reach to VCE max. That means it can go to it can extend to this level of maximum value in general. That means in the case of power amplifier, if you take care about escaping of temperature, which is going to get increased enormously in the power amplifier case by using heat sinks, you can simply enlarge the input voltage to this level by keeping the Q point at the center of the active region. So therefore, we can just use this as a power amplifier if you provide with a heat sinks. Okay, now we conclude that reasons of going for heat sinks here is something like the heat sinks are used only to reduce the extra power which is going to get dissipated from the power amplifier stages. If you use heat sinks, you can use this transistor amplifier for very large voltage swings or current swings. So this is the voltage swing we can speak about, and this is going to be current swing that we can speak about. On the current side, whatever waveform you are seeing here, it is called as a current swing. On the voltage side, this is a voltage side. X-axis is voltage size. Voltage side. On this voltage side, whatever waveform you are seeing is known as the output voltage swing. This is going to be called as the output current swing. And this output current swing also can increase up to this max IC maximum value over here and minimum value over here. Like this, you can extend this, provided if your heat sinks are really working fine. So the better the heat sinks working there, the better is going to be the response we can normally going to get. So therefore, we don't go to the maximum value because this is going to be the work of breaking down the transistor. So therefore, we don't go to that extent, maximum extent. We just come little bit prior to this to fix up the design values for the power amplifier cases. Okay. So we can consider this going to be the VCE max, and we can consider this is going to be VCE minimum, and we can consider this is going to be IC max, IC minimum. We don't go beyond because this is going to be the verge of the point of breakdown of a transistor. Therefore, we never go to that extreme level. But anyway, we just simply going to a level which is close to 0 for minimum, close to maximum for VCE max. Okay, that's how anyway we can do to the maximum extent. Until we get a stable response, we can just simply still enlarge and see that more signal is going to get transmitted. And the input power is simply going to get distributed. What is the input power? The input power is simply coming from the power supply VCC. What is input power? I can say it is plus VCC into ICQ. It is not the externally applied AC signal input power. We have to consider the input applied to the amplifier circuit as such. So the input applied to the amplifier is going to be called as DC source, called plus VCC. Therefore, input power is considered as VCC into ICQ. ICQ is the result of the biasing current. Okay, so this is what we can have it over there. All right. So what we can have it here, something like this here. Now the input power is simply divided. Input power is simply divided into divided into two. One is going to be the power given to the transistor and power dissipated. Okay. So therefore, the input power is nothing but VCC into ICQ, and the power dissipated is nothing but ICQ square into RC. And whereas the total power given to the transistor is nothing but input power minus the dissipated power. So input power is nothing but simply VCC, and the power dissipated is nothing but ICQ into RC is the power dissipated into the transistor circuit. So input power is nothing but simply it is VCC into ICQ, and output power is going to be called as ICQ square into RC. Okay, that is the power applied to the transistor circuit. Now the power delivered to the load is nothing but the AC power. We can take up something like where power is nothing but is called I square into R is the general formula. As we are taking the output current going through the load resistance RC, I can take I is equal to V by RC. So I can take V square by RC. I can have over here as I as something like. So therefore, I can just simply write it as something like V square by RC. So what is V? I can write as something like V is nothing but is equal to VM by root 2 whole square. And I can write this as VM square by 2 RC is the output current. Okay. Next is I can write the overall efficiency basic equation. What is efficiency? Output power by input power. Output power is nothing but the AC power delivered to the load. Input power is nothing but the total power delivered by the DC power supply to the circuit. So output power AC, input power is going to be DC. So output power is simply going to get delivered across the collector. Therefore, I can call it as a collector efficiency as well. So efficiency is nothing but equal to collector terminals is equal to average AC power output by average DC power input to the transistor. So average AC power I can write as equal to VRMS into IRMS is the output AC power. AC is nothing but is equal to RMS voltage into RMS current. So what is VRMS? VRMS is nothing but equal to VM by root 2. So what is VM? VM is nothing but VM I am writing in terms of the voltage swing. So what is voltage swing we have here? This is the voltage swing. So I can call it as VCE max. This I can call it as VCE minimum. Similarly, current swing I can call it as IC max. Maximal I can call it as IC minimum. So what is VM? Maximum peak is known as plus VM. Minimum peak is going to be known as minus VM. So VM more or less I can take as equal to, it is something like VCE max minus VCE min by 2. Half of that. This is the total swing. Half of that is going to be the maximum swing. So always we consider the stable responses. Therefore, we assume that Q point is stable, not disturbing. Therefore, we can say VM is going to be at the half of the overall swing. So we consider the symmetrical signals and the stable signals. So under that assumption consideration, we can simply call it as something like this. And therefore, I can write this as equal to VM. I can write as equal to VCE max minus VCE by 2. 1 by root 2 will be there as it is. Same thing is for the current. IC max minus IC min by 2. When you simply do that, we'll be getting this equation. And what about the input power? The total input power, you can say the input power is equal to, what is the input power we can say? The input power is equal to VCC into ICQ. So therefore, I can take that input power something like this, VCC into ICQ. So this is the formula for the overall efficiency. Okay. Now, if you see this formula, what is there on the denominator? VCC into ICQ, it is a large value. So whenever a large value is coming in the denominator, definitely the overall result is going to be less. Therefore, it is going to exhibit a poor overall efficiency. So that is the drawback of this particular class A power amplifier. Class A power amplifier is going to have a very low collector efficiency. Because efficiency is low, obviously we can say that the power output is also going to be low. Therefore, it provides low power output with low efficiency. Therefore, we don't prefer this in the practical power amplifiers. Now, what are the advantages? The circuit is simple, easy to construct. No distortion is present because it is supplying the entire input signal. What is distortion? If the output is not same as the input signal, then it is known as distortion. Input is a full cycle AC, output is also a full cycle AC. Therefore, there is no distortion. Therefore, I can say that distortion is not there. That means output is same as the input. So no distortion. It can amplify small signals. So even though you apply the small signal, this power amplifier is going to amplify the small signals. Okay. Actually, power amplifiers is meant to amplify the large input signals, not the small input signals. But anyhow, if at all, unfortunately, small signal happens to be the input, this amplifier is going to amplify such signals without any problem, because it is simply a CE amplifier circuit. Now the current flows for the complete input cycle. That means the analysis is simple, the circuit is simple. But the major drawback is, what is the main purpose of power amplifier? It should give more output power. But unfortunately, because of this construction, it is giving a low output power. That is the greatest drawback of this type of the amplifier circuit. Now to come out of this drawback, what I have to do now? What is the problem we are going to have with this amplifier? The output resistance RC cannot be equal to, or the overall output resistance of the circuit cannot be equal to 20 ohms, which is usually the input resistance of the loudspeaker. Therefore, what happens? Maximum power transfer is not going to happen at the output of the load resistance, and hence the efficiency is low. The output power is also going to be really low. In the case of since efficiency is low, output power is low. Efficiency means what? Utilization of the input power is known as efficiency. More the utilization of the input power, more is going to be the output power in order to get the output signal. Okay. Less the utilization of the input power to get the desired output, is known as the less efficiency. So in order to get the output, it should use the more. If it gets the output by using a more input signal, it is going to be the more efficient type of the circuit. So that is the problem. Now to overcome this problem, what we can do now? We can replace this RC by a transformer. Therefore, we can have a transformer coupling at the collector side. If a transformer is simply going to get used at the output of the collector side of the transistor, then RC is simply going to get reduced. That means the overall output resistance is going to get reduced to 20 to 25 ohms. Therefore, maximum power transfer is going to happen, and because of the maximum power transfer, we achieve the maximum efficiency, maximum output power. So we'll see these two, we'll see this case in the next class. Next class, what we do is we just discuss about Class A power amplifier with transformer coupling, and also some part of the Class B type of the power amplifier, where Class B power amplifier is intention is to supply only 0 to 180 degrees input current into the output transistor. Okay. If only 0 to 180 degrees current is going to get transmitted by a transistor, it is called as a Class B type of the power amplifier. Now to support the Class B power amplifier to transmit the entire 60 degrees of the input cycle, you have to use another transistor. That means you should see that one transistor will be in the on condition from 0 to 180 degrees, and the other transistor will be in the on condition for 180 to 360 degrees of the input signal, so that the entire input signal is going to get transmitted to the load side. Right. Now, care has to be taken here that when one transistor is in the on condition, the other transistor should be in the off condition, just like the operation of the full wave rectifier. Such that only half of the input signal is going to get transmitted by one of the transistor. Other half is going to get transmitted by the other transistor in the power amplifier circuit construction. Okay. So thereby we can achieve the maximum efficiency of the transistor circuit. Okay. We'll see how maximum efficiency is achieved in the case of the Class B type of the power amplifier. Thank you very much for the today's session.